Hello, great people. How are you doing? Something just happened. Part of the prophecy has fulfilled again. Oh my God. Part of the prophecy just fulfilled. Here by a particular prophet, Feyi, said somebody in INEC, oh my God, will leak the secret. A former INEC national commissioner just blew the gaff. Just leak something out that is very vital for P2B campaign team. Hey, you need to see this video and I will be right back.
The BVAS, I must be very clear here, and that's the response I wanted to give to Prof. Prof, let me clarify clearly and unambiguously to the effect that we designed the BVAS in both online and offline, just in case wherever there is no network, not even there, right at the polling unit, if you don't have what you call a network, which you are talking about, you have to upload offline. That is why.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, my sister, for having me. Good morning to Nigerians.
Good to see you, Mike. All right, let's start from the last election, the presidential and the National Assembly election. INEC promised so much, but at the end of the day, some Nigerians believe that INEC gave too little. For instance, let's start with the BVAS and his twin brother, the IREF. BVAS was supposed to be able to do some things and then transmit some things to the IREF. We didn't see that happen, as you had consistently explained days before the election. What really happened, Mike?
Well, thank you very much, Benga, for your question. I think first and foremost, I need to make a very fundamental clarification. That is, before I went into INEC in 2010, and all through the period, my voting has only been the process and procedure. That if the procedure is okay, the outcome should be accepted without views. It's on that basis that I embark on those education. Now, and the education I embarked on, it was not something that is not new to Nigerians. We have used, it took us, Benga, 20 years to be able to repeal election rigging provisions contained in our statutes, which are there. They are basically 4. Section 49 of the Repeal Act gave power for presiding officer, when he is satisfied, that's the language used, that he can issue ballot to people. That was now used to rig election by compromising presiding officer. At that time, we were using state civil servant. It must be recalled by Nigerians that it was when we came on board under the Jega leadership that we moved away from the use of what we call civil servant across states of Nigeria, primary school teacher, who were now compromised by virtue of section 49. At that time, those you find as presiding officer at polling unit turned out to be state civil servant. Number 2, but today, that has been repealed. We now have section 47 that has brought in the regime of the BVAS, and I'm going to speak about the BVAS extensively on account of the election coming up tomorrow. Number 2, statutory provision for rigging for 20 years was now repeal section 53 of the Act. Now, that section 53 was the section that deal with numbers of registered voters, in which case that led to people setting up voter registration. Once you become a governor, you become a member of assembly, in the next voter registration, suddenly the figures of your area will now balloon up. That was what being used. It was that section that led to what you call inconclusive election, because you were basing it purely on what you call number of register. Now, that section had been repealed. We now have what you call section 51 of the 2022 Electoral Act, which now based a computation on accreditation, those who actually came, irrespective of those who are on the register, that will now be used to rig election. Now, we now have the last section, which is section 68 of the Repeal Act. That section gave power to a returning officer who, even under duress, under gunpoint, once he made a declaration, the law says that even the INEC that employed the professor to be a returning officer, you cannot challenge it. People must go to court. That is why we now have my worry about the expanding empire of the courts in determining who becomes a leader in our country. That section has been repealed. You now have section 65 of the 2022 Electoral Act that gives INEC the power to review any declaration from polling unit, the work election center, power to review any declaration from polling unit, the work election center that is made inconsistent with the provision of the law. I give this background, so it was against this background that I embarked on that education. Now, profound on this act, is the fact that you now have section 60 of the Electoral Act that mandates a presiding officer to transmit or transfer, whichever language you call, under section 60 subsection 5. Number 2, you now have section 64 subsection 4 of the Act with respect to a work relation officer that at the end of the day you must transfer. Then of course you now have what you call that section 64. Now all of these sections were meant to address, to save INEC process and procedure, including clause 38 of the regulations and guidelines. They were all designed to address historical challenges of election service delivery in our country. It's against that background that I gave the education which I gave. Wenga, do you know that after the 25th February presidential election, I have received almost 3,000 messages by those who traveled from Canada, Malta, who came to Nigeria to be part of that exercise. Unfortunately, which is the question you asked me, which I'm not able to answer, why there was a problem with that of the presidential, but that of senatorial and House of Rep went through. Boinga, as we are, you know, I'm a lawyer. Where we are right now, it is now a matter before the court to determine. But Nigerians are asking questions, and that question I will not be able to answer because I am no longer in INEC. I don't know what happened. Even myself, I still want to know what happened. That is with respect to your first question.
Okay, all right. Maybe I should navigate to another area, which is that, again, because of what members of the public have said, is it possible or is it conceivable at all that you could actually use the BVAS to perpetrate rigging? Is it possible? Is it possible to use the BVAS to rig an election?
Thank you very much. Wenga, that's why I said it was unfortunate what happened with respect to the issue of that upload with respect to the presidential, which has now tend to overshadow the beauty, the value that the BVAS has brought in. So categorically, I can tell you that the BVAS cannot be used to change the outcome of the election. What politicians are now trying to do is to get around the benefit of the BVAS, and they cannot do anything. And I will state it for the following. One, it will let you know that with BVAS, it has brought sanity to the accreditation process in our elections. That is to say, the principle of one person, one vote is now back fully. In fact, the BVAS have now put the Nigerian voter at the center of our electoral democracy. That is why today, with the BVAS, the fraudulent practice, the what we call organized crime that used to take place at polling units, where party agents at the end of election, they will now share what they call unused ballots, because you have section 53 that was dealing with total number of registered voter instead of the new act now. Today, you can no longer, in all the election, presidential election, there was nothing like sharing of unused ballot. That has put an end to that rigging that has been on for a very long time. Number two, and I want to flag up what you call the beauty of a table I sent to you. so that Nigerians, irrespective of what happened in the presidential election, that are now matter to be dealt with by the judiciary, please just put on the table which I sent to you. I can just read it out to you here quickly.
Yeah.
And that is that, Benga, I use Delta State. As I speak to you, I'm flagging up all the states from Abia to Zamfara, the last state, by way of alphabetical order. And you can now see that in all the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, that in those days, in previous election, before BVAS, you will find that people will produce millions of votes, thousands of votes. In this election, did you see a candidate scoring 1 million from anywhere? It didn't happen. Now, I use one example to show to Nigerians, and this is the same you have in all the states of the Federation, showing clearly that the BVAS is really the game changer. In Delta, we have 3 senatorial districts like all other states. I am an honorable man from the Delta Central. So I want to start fighting or begin from home of the wrong thing in my own area. Now, I have a data showing what happened in 2011, 2015, 2019. But let me use the last figures of 2019 of where we don't have what they call BVAS, when we had what they call corridor, and people sabotage corridor by using incident form. Remember that with BVAS, no more incident form. Now, in that election, in my own rural land, there was a place called Ethiop West. At that time, in 2019, they posted 62,044 results in the 2019 election. But guess what? Because of the BVAS that has brought sanity to the process, what do you have? What you now have is just 4,403. Can you imagine that? Go to Delta North, Ika Northeast. In 2019, where you didn't have BVAS, where they brought Moonslide, they had 67,417 in 2019. But guess what? In the current election, which of course there's a big question mark, I'm just studying the figure because there's a fundamental issue there. I learned that it has been cancelled. But let me show you the figure here now. You now have 16,696. That was the new figure now. Now, finally, on the senatorial district, which is the last one, I just pick one example each. Warri Southwest, the Riverine area. In 2019, they posted 139,534 votes who were said to have been accredited, which are not true. BVAS has exposed that now. In the current data figure in the last election, they only have 3,183. So who says that the BVAS is not a game changer? Now, the new trick is this. They tried it in 2 states off-season by-elections, but they failed because there's an antidote to that. That antidote, I will not mention it today. It will be after that election tomorrow. They will fall into that trap and they will bear the consequences. And what is it? What they are now planning, what they did in those 2 states, one from South-South and one from South-East when we had by-election. What they did was this, and this is what people must watch out for tomorrow. Those who are listening to this program, please, this thing must be highlighted in your news. What do they want to do tomorrow? As they have tried even the last election. What they are going to do is this. They will wait here around 1 o'clock or 2 p.m. when there have been some level of accreditation carried out. What they will do, they will come to the polling unit. They will carry the poll officials. They will shoot their way in there. They will pick the poll officials, the BVAS, the ballot box, the ballot papers. They will take them to somewhere. When they get there, for example, maybe in a particular polling unit where you have 500 registered voters, and as at the time they came to cut away, abduct the poll officials, at that time 150 people had been accredited and their ballot had already been cast on the ballot box. What they will do is this, which these 2 states they did. Whenever knew that they were still going to escalate it, it appeared they have sold the formula out now. But it's a failed formula. But the idea is that they want to be declared winner. Declare the House of Members of Assembly winner, declare the governor winner, let people go to court. Here's what they will now do. They will now destroy, they will look at the BVAS. They will see that the BVAS are accredited 150. And in that polling unit, you have 500. So you see how what you call 350 ballot papers yet to be used. Yeah. What they will do is that they will not touch the BVAS. They will not touch it because there's no way you can impute a accreditation without the people not actually being there. So what they will do is that they will put the BVAS aside. They will not bring out the ballot paper that have been cast genuinely, legally, that they carried away. They will destroy all of them. They will throw them away. They will now print new set of ballot paper up to 150 or less, but they will not exceed what you have on the BVAS. So that in the case of litigation, you will feel that the BVAS will tally. But what would have changed is that
there will be no question of overvoting. Yeah, I said there will be no question of overvoting. Yeah.
Yes. So now, the new set of ballot papers will not exceed that one. They will now complete new. Now, in what they would now do is that out of the 150 or less they may choose, they could give 130 for those who are doing that for its candidate or for the party. They will allocate 130 votes. Meanwhile, remember that the presiding officer is with them at that place. The presiding officer also had the list of the party agents at that time because they were there, but everyone they ran away. So they will now fill the form EC8A. They will fill it by allocation based on the newly printed ballot paper. So they will allocate what they call 120, 130 to themselves. Then they will not say, okay, allocate maybe just 20 for the other people to make it rhyme with the beaver. This is the new game they are trying to do. However, here is the good news. But the good news, I'm not going to disclose it today. Because if you disclose it, they are going to look for another option, which I know of, but we don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
After the election, I'm now going to make that one known to the Nigerian people. That is the beauty of the BVAS. That is what the BVAS are brought in. It is the BVAS that had made it finally on this point, that has made it now impossible for a governor who wants to see the National Assembly as a retirement home. It's now the BVAS. That's why you could see that positions are running scatter. It is the BVAS that made it possible for an Okada rider to win the election, because we designed the process in such a way that your pocket should not matter, but what you have upstairs.
Okay.
Because we also have guests here
who
probably want to interact with you as well.
To Wayne, you know, Barrister, what has been coming to my mind the last few seconds we've been talking is no, at least the last few minutes, especially showing how it was as if I was in the school of election malpractice. that was how I was feeling. School of rigging, and I hope that it doesn't happen, or we don't see the extent at which people might think, and it will discourage them from coming out on Saturday. But like you said, we have...
Yeah, he said that had happened in some off-cycle elections. But INEC was able to nip it in the board, and that he believes that is what has been imported into the elections.
They are going to do it. They are going to do it. They are going to do it. But they are going to fail. That's the beauty.
All right.
It is not to discourage you. It's for you to come out massively. Because you are going to overwhelm them. You are going to overwhelm them. But you are going to fail.
Well, that is how far we can go on that. You've seen it. He's a former National Commissioner of INEC, Mr. Michael Igiri. He has revealed a lot. For me, it was like a lecture. And I believe obedience and every other person are listening. The BVAS, according to him, is meant to function with whether the internet is on or whether it's fluctuating or not. You can still upload. It's just like some of the times, the recent Facebook upgrade, you realize the Facebook tells you you can still post offline. When internet comes, it uploads itself. So that is the case. It has been programmed, fashioned out to do that. So there is no excuse. There is no excuse. It can upload offline and still later update online. So remember who is talking. This man has worked with INEC for like 10 years. From 2010, he knows the in and out, everything that is involved. They all participated in the design of that BVAS. And how they arrive at that BVAS? They have gone through several Electoral Act repeals and this and that. They check this problem. How can we? While they keep updating themselves, they repeal certain acts till they arrived at something, with BVAS and the latest thing they have. It is hard for politicians to rig. But I'm coming to that. Some people say they rigged, but I'm coming to that. I want to tell you what happened. So, according to him, INEC has gone through a refining process before they arrived at having BVAS. And he also asked a question everybody is asking. Remember, he said thousands of people called him. There's a question that remained unanswered. The senatorial election, which was the same time, when remember, they gave you 3 papers, you thumbprint on this, and this. Senatorial, presidential, and House of Reps. Why did the senatorial and House of Reps went, but the presidential was stalled? These are authorities in the field, this particular man, and he said that these are the questions we have been asking. Why? According to him, the only way BVAS can be compromised is, listen, I'm trying to touch light on what he has said. He said they cannot alter the entries in the BVAS. The only thing they do during the election, these touts from politicians, they attack. But before I said BVAS has covered the numerous crimes in the case of double voting and sharing of unused ballots. At the end of the day, maybe parties share. Those things have been put to rest with the development in BVAS. So the only way BVAS can be sabotaged, according to him, is, during the time of card raiders, we had such problems. People can, but this case of BVAS, the case of BVAS, you cannot just start adding the names of people who are not there. He wants to tell you, look at what he said happened. BVAS is a game changer. What happened is, what they do, they use violence, like you saw in the last election. He revealed this before the last election, but there are certain things he was restraining himself from saying. He said he wants to catch them with that. Now, what they do, politicians, is to attack the venue of the election, hijack the electoral materials, and in that process, process too, they take the INEC staff. But you realize what happens is that during this time, you realize everybody is scampering for safety, including the agents of the political parties. They leave. Then they take the INEC agent to a side. Now, in the case, BVAS records the number of people. Without your record on BVAS, you didn't vote. Yes, BVAS records you and your card. So, they know they cannot alter the records, the number of people that have been accredited to vote at that polling unit. What they do is, they destroy the ballot papers. Now they count the numbers already recorded in the BVAS and they thumbprint. Based on that, they can decide to give other parties thumbprint on other parties to ballot for other parties too. Then they make their own more. Then they'll sign on behalf of the agents that would have run away. So they will take the stuff to an enclosed place where they will not be seen. So at the end of the day, they will make sure it's within the people that have been accredited, because people have dispersed by then. They can't force people. BVAS captures you, everything, your card, captures your face and your card. So it's not easy for them to get such record. And BVAS cannot keep record of somebody twice. So overvoting is not allowed. So what they do, they take the numbers of people that have been entered into the system, they thumbprint on their behalf and sign on behalf of the agents. Oh my God. They will now fill the form EC8A, and the party agents are supposed to fill. Normally the party agents at the end of the day fills this form, sign, satisfied with the result, even though in some cases you see it being altered, like what we had in Rivers State. So that is what they have been doing. But the most important thing in this video we just shared with you is this particular man that has experience, I've worked with INEC for like 10 years, said something. He said, BVAS can be, the transmitting of the result can be done even offline. That's what I want you to take home. And I want Labour Party to note, because evidence abounds. And this is where I will round up on this one. Thanks for staying with us. I am Azuka OJ. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more updates. Bye-bye for now.